Okay, this is a description of the photograph Ophelia by Gregory Crewdson. Um, I'm going to read the student's first draft of a formal description. Now keep in mind, a formal description is just a description of the forms that make up the work of art that you see. Describe those forms. Do not describe any meaning or story. Only describe what can be seen as simply as possible. If the description is good, it should evoke a mental picture in the reader's mind. So I will read the description over this blank screen, and let's see what images come to mind, and then we will compare it with the actual image. So here is what the student wrote. The photograph, Ophelia, by Gregory Crewdson, is 127 by 152.4 centimeters, or about 50 by 60 inches, and is set horizontally. The photograph depicts an interior scene and uses dark tones and colors as well as pops of bright light, creating a high contrast. The photograph can be explained in two large rectangular halves. The top half presents a seemingly normal living room with a staircase along the wall, making up a triangular shape on the far left side, with a rectangular bookcase along the side of the stairs on the main floor and smaller rectangular shaped portraits lining the top of the stairs on an incline. Next to that, an irregular trapezoid sitting between the triangular shape and a rectangular connecting wall is a wall with two windows letting in light from the outside. To the furthest right is the previously mentioned rectangular wall, housing a coat rack and front entrance and part of a window allowing light into the room. The bottom half of the photo is much darker in comparison to the opposite half and depicts a corpse floating in a flooded living room. On the top left and top right of the bottom half, you can see a couch and love seat half submerged in water, joined by side tables and lamps on each side. The woman in the photo can be seen in the center of the bottom portion of the photograph, creating a harsh horizontal line across the pool of water. The woman is pale and dressed in a revealing nightgown, which is stark contrast to the dark water she is floating in. The water itself seems to reflect to top portion of the photograph. Reflect on the top portion of the photograph, is that what you meant? With the bright lights from the windows and from a lamp outlined on the surface. The furniture in the living room, as well as the staircase and front door, all seem to lead your attention to the body floating in the water, as if she is the centerpiece of the entire scene. The triangular and rectangular pieces within the photo also support the woman being the centerpiece, further leading the eye to her body. And here's the image. Okay, now just by the description alone, I kind of imagined the space divided up a little more. But it's pretty good. This is pretty close. I think the student did a pretty good job. What I would say is to expand this description, we can show which direction the face of the person is facing, which direction she seems to be looking if she were looking anywhere. Just because that's an important kind of communication tool that we're used to looking for. You know, it would have a different effect if the head were turned away versus looking right at us. Okay, it's looking sort of three-quarters, sort of up at the ceiling. Yep, I was picturing the stairs going this way instead of the other way. And is that something I just missed in the description? I have to double check that, but so going up left instead of up right, I probably just missed that. The sofa here, there's a couple things. I would say mention that you can't see it all. You can see maybe 3/4 of it sticking out from well, you got from where it's coming out from, but that it's facing the viewer, not perfectly square on facing the viewer, but facing the viewer. And there's some texture here. You know, see it has this these buttons and this tufting, so that evokes a texture and a contrasting texture to the water. Reinforce how smooth and still the water is. If it were moving, it would give a different meaning than if it were still. Okay, we're not getting into meaning yet, but that's why this stuff is important. The water is still. And when you just go on to the meaning of the photo, the stillness of the water is going to be significant. If it were rough and non-reflective, there's a potentially different meaning or a different story. You'd guess that something else is going on. Okay, light coming in, but can you sort of tell what time of day it is or the position of things outside? And she's lighted, but the shadows are here. Okay. And the light is only on the top. So light source might be sort of important. Here, this is light. So it's kind of a low light, so it's not really the middle of the day. Look at the angle that the light's coming in on. Okay, I'm getting really picky, but I'm trying to add to the description here. Okay, I think you can use some little bit of expansion, and there's some things that are a little bit redundant and could use maybe a revision to make them shorter and more accurate. But I think the description, the student did a really good job with this description. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say on video. But actually, let's do this. Let's take this opportunity here to just kind of draw all over this. Let's see, basic shapes. See this line? See how these lines are going down towards where these two walls meet? Same here. Same here. All right, even this guy is going this way. As objects get further away from us in space, especially when we're looking through a camera, they tend to get smaller and smaller. So this section of the wall, let me change the pen. So this height, wall height, seems taller than this. So something that artists are keenly aware of if they want to create a sense of space. Just describing these as doors or windows evoke rectangular shapes. So that's good. What shape does the railing make? Especially this one that seems to point towards our figure in the water here. That's almost like an arrow. See the arrow that makes? Same with this. So it's like the stairs are saying something happened here. We've got more leading lines. Okay. Good.